Come on, kiddo. Up here. Go on. Go on. Go on, kiddo. Did you hear that, guys? Deadly quiet up here today, very muggy. How do? Before I start today, links in the description for new socials. Started a new Twitter account and a new Instagram account for Real Porridge Podcast. We've also got the merch store up and running again. On the merch front, guys, you know, people have been asking me, we're with Teespring, yeah. It's a generic company. They, you know, they're a big concern. They have loads of stock. You can give them designs. It all comes at a price. The stuff on there, we are selling it at the bottom end of the scale. Very little profit. I'm not in it for that. If there's any companies out there, small companies, who think they could handle the merch, you know, hoodies, t-shirts, maybe 2 or 3 designs, various sizes, deal with the mail side of it, get in touch. realporridge@outlook.com. Again, the reason we go with Teespring, they post out, they deal with any faulty items and the like. I just haven't got time to do anything like that at the minute. Come on, you. So today, I had a look at a question yesterday when I was talking about a new officer, new in service. I don't actually know whether it's a lad or lass, or how old they are, or how long they've been in the job. But I read the question again. So this is also answering your question, whoever you are. I'm going to talk about being professional in the job. But when I think about it, it's having common sense. Yeah, I'm not talking about the prison service orders, prison service instructions, PSOs, PSIs that people work to. I'm talking about how I did my job. So we're going to go to K-Wing, yeah. I'll give you 3 examples of not having common sense. Firstly, just let me alter the angle on this a touch. Okay, when I was on K-Wing, I mentored 3 people. First one, young lad. I didn't have a choice in this, Bertie Bassett said, you're mentoring this lad for a month. This is how new officers should start for me. Stevie, get your ball, come on. You're mentoring this lad for a month. I put him on your shifts. You're going to teach him the job. He was already been in the job a while. Didn't want to listen to anybody, causing a fair amount of trouble on the wing. How he was dealing and speaking to people, you know, the old dynamic security. You know, I'd talk to someone, Smithy, get behind your fucking door. He'd then try that. Smithy knew me, got on with me, didn't know him, can cause problems. So, he's had some beef with this guy. Come off that, you. Come on. He's had some beef with this guy. We're on the Twos landing, K-Wing. Bit of an altercation. I said to the lad, we'll come and speak to you at bang up, i.e. when we lock them up at dinner. So he starts locking up. This lad, I call him Smith, just for the sake of it. He weren't called Smith. Yeah, as we're locking up, what we do on K-Wing, each landing, as lads come back to the doors, I go down one side, he go down the other. You lock them in. Late comers, somebody in the shower and that, you'd have to go back or whatever, but that's how you'd lock the landing down. He went straight to this lad's cell. I saw him going, I'm behind him, maybe 10 or 12 metres. I says, Mr. Smith, Mr. Smith. I'm walking fast, I'm not running Mr. Smith. He went straight in the cell. So I've arrived, what, 2 or 3 seconds later. First thing, he'd not shot the bolt. When I say shooting the bolt, your front door, if you've got a Yale lock, you can lock that lock out so you can't shut the front door. That's what you do with a cell door before you go in. No one's kicking it shut and trapping you in there then. You've always got that barrier. So first point, he's not shot the bolt. So I shut the bolt. I says, Mr. Smith, will you step out of the cell? These two are going at it now. Not fighting, arguing. He's not listening to me. I says to the prisoner, who I knew very well, sit on the bed, shut your mouth. He knew what I meant. Mr. Smith out of the cell, locked the door, said to the lads who were closing the door, I'll come back later and speak to you. Went back to speak to him. He says, Miss Samworth, want to complain. Officer Smith touched my testicles. Officer Smith, who's with me, again kicks off. I'm in front of him, between him and the prisoner. Shuts the door again. Here's the thing. Do I think he touched his testicles? No. He went in the cell. He didn't shoot the bolt. That prisoner had done that before. There's then a bit of an investigation because the prisoner alleges a sexual assault. Yeah, he set himself up. He didn't like the fact I told him that. He said I was supporting a prisoner. I said, listen, you go in a cell, nobody there. Someone accuses you of something, it's your word against them. He brought it on himself. He didn't listen. The mentoring lasted about 10 days and then he spit his dummy out, not me. Went to the senior officer and refused to work with me. I was just trying to help him, but there you go. Second person I mentored was a lass. She had been problematic already in the training centre. This lass was from an ethnic background and believed that everyone was racist. Everybody. So I got her. I had no choice again. Bertie Bassett, you're mentoring this lass. Nobody wanted that job. People were taking the piss out of me. Nobby Nobbler, my mate, was taking the piss out of me. I mentored her for a month from day one. She said she'd been a police officer, she knew how to deal with people, and wouldn't listen. She hadn't been a police officer. She'd worked within the police force as a civilian at some point. However, she hadn't been a prison officer and she didn't know the job. And being a Yorkshireman, used to call everyone love all the time. That was problematic straight away. I was having to think what I say every time I called her a love. She said she was going to make a complaint about me over familiar. I can't even say it today. Being over familiar and the like. Anyway, it's a problematic month. Towards the end of that month, and I mean towards the end, so just as the mentoring was finishing, Stevie, get your ball, kid. Get your ball. I'll get his ball. So as it was finishing, I sees her. You can have it back in a bit. Come on, let's have a walk, kid. Come on. No, don't bite me pocket. I sees her walking down a landing with Ron the Threes on K-Wing. There's a prisoner either side of her. The prisoners had their arm round her with their hands in her lower back, near her backside. She had her arms round the two prisoners and one of them kissed her on the cheek. Anyone, me telling you that, I'd be thinking, whoa, it is whoa, yeah? That's as unprofessional as it gets. I obviously tried to have a word. I went to Bertie Bassett. Meantime, this officer has been removed from K-Wing. Some manager took her and had a word and said they were going to give her some more security training. She couldn't be disciplined. The manager intervened. They did it on purpose. And it was problematic then when she came back to the wing. Nobody trusted her. She said we were all racist. She wasn't on K-Wing very long. She was actually given an office job. The lasses in the office, mostly lasses, there were a few lads, were on about 15, 16 grand a year. She went into that job on full prison officer money. So she was on a lot more than them. They removed her from that job. I did speak to her when I went to the offices. I had no problems with her other than the unprofessional conduct. So, third one, another lad. Yeah, again, I had no choice, Bertie Bassett. So this lad, first shift on K-Wing on the 2s. Let me tell you about me and Nobby Nobbler. When I said how I worked professionally, but really it's common sense, it is common sense. How rude. I know, just let the train go. You're beautiful, aren't you? Are you beautiful? You are beautiful. I know you are. Come on, I'll give you a ball in a bit. Me and Nobby Nobbler on that landing. If he was going to the toilet, if he was going to make a brew, because he made all the brews, good lad, or he was doing the applications, he liked that job and he was good at it, we would tell each other, just going to make a brew. We knew where each other were. Most of the staff on K-Wing worked like that. Buddy system. You know, it's a very sensible thing to do. Especially on that wing prisoners were at all day. It was a volatile wing. And there was a lot of happening, a lot of distractions. Anyway, this lad, this is the first shift, I've told you. Yeah, about 8:30, he's gone. So there's things happening on the wing, things you need to do. I said to Bertie Bassett, I don't know where he is. He says, go and look in the toilet. The obvious places he weren't there. So Bertie Bassett, now he's a bit pissed off. He didn't want this lad on our wing. We were giving him, he was a problem child. I certainly didn't want him, mentoring him. We locked the wing down. Bertie Bassett, right, lock him down. Put all the prisoners behind the doors, went cell to cell looking for him. Didn't find him, carried on. Got to 11 o'clock, locked all the prisoners up, still no sign of him. 11:30, we start serving meals on K-Wing. I'm up on the 4s. What we used to have is a line of staff outside cells. All the prisoners will relate to this. We'd all unlock a cell. Them lads would go down one stairwell onto the 1s where the servery was, collect the meal back up. As they come back into their cell, you'd lock them in, move to the end of the line, open another cell. Boom, work like clockwork. This lad turns up. We've just started serving meals, yeah. Me, a bit subtle. Where the fuck have you been? I went mad, called him all names, called him the W word, you know, someone who masturbates a lot. He didn't like that. Said, get outside, you're not talking to me like that. I think he referred to the fact that he wanted to fight me in the car park. All the staff give it him. Don't forget, we've locked a wing down to find this lad. We didn't think he was in a cell, but we did it to make sure. He'd been on G-Wing next door, his wing. Yeah, tossing it off, talking to his mates. Didn't think he needed to be on K-Wing. Anyway, he weren't on K-Wing long either. He got moved off. Incidentally, that lad would later get the sack for posting racist posts on social media, Facebook. When he was challenged by the #1 governor, he said, what I do outside work, you know, it is nothing to do with you. However, he got finished and moved on. And later, he became a perpetrator of domestic violence against his then partner, who was lovely. So yeah, he weren't a nice character. But you see what I'm talking about? They're unprofessional things people have done. Yeah? So let's go to healthcare. It's going to be a bit of a long one, this. Buckle yourselves in, guys. Let's go to healthcare. When my book came out, I got a message on social media from a guy who said I'd battered him and sexually assaulted him on healthcare. He now knew who I was and he was going to police. I suggested that I did go to the police if he thought that, you know, I had perpetrated these offences, crimes against him. Let me tell you about healthcare when I worked on healthcare. I was actually employed by the healthcare as well. Manchester Mental Health, whoever, National Health, whatever healthcare trust paid for the nurses on the healthcare, because they did. The prison service didn't pay for them. They also paid for the officers. So that's myself. So my wages were getting paid. So for me, I was employed on there. I worked on there. We had some very dangerous people. A lot of people on 3 officer unlocks, which means they only come out with 3 officers there and they only come out on their own. No other prisoners around. Very dangerous. We had a lot of problematic prisoners. We had prisoners who would end up on there who shouldn't be on there, but they saw it as an easy touch. There was a lot of medication on there and a lot of vulnerable people. the old police helicopter there. Don't know whether we can see it in the background. These problematic prisoners, I never ever, other than the orderlies, the wing cleaners, went in a cell on my own. Yeah, if I need to speak to someone, I would shoot the bolt, I would go in, member of staff at the door listening. If I went to someone's hatch, yeah, they were locked down, someone who's problematic, I would have someone listening, maybe a nurse 2 cells down, just listening. You cover yourself. You could tell the sort of people these people were. So, you know, there's no going in cells on your own, you supported everyone. If we need to go in the cell with a prisoner who's on an unlock or dangerous, yeah, I would go in the cell first. I worked on there. We had a lot of overtime staff on there, make the numbers up. They didn't know the people, I would go in first. Doctor, nurse needs to speak to someone. You put yourself between the prisoner and them. That's common sense, yeah? You know, if it's going to kick off, you're getting one, not a nurse or somebody else, or another member of staff who I work with. That was just me. That's how I worked. So yeah, you don't leave yourself open to allegations. You cover yourself. And this all prison staff now, there'll be a lot of new staff. I know people are banged up. If you go to a cell on a wing and someone's kicking off behind the door, do you know what? They can't do anything. If you need to remove them or you need to take action, go away, get a team, get kitted up, get a camera, film it. That's for the staff and the prisoners. Yeah? It's common sense. If somebody else is in the cell under threat, then obviously you have to deal and make a decision at that point. I've talked about it before, on wings, every time I open the door, and lots of other staff, not just me, you look in the observation panel as you're unlocking the door. You have a look what you are opening that door to, yeah? Not somebody behind the door waiting to smack your head or whatever. It's common sense, isn't it? It's also being professional. You cover yourself at all times. Now, I've been on landings when there's only been me, yeah? Bottom jail in particular, a lot of staff would spend a lot of time in the sterile, so you might be on a landing on your own. Again, you have to read the situation. If there's 12 lads having a go at me down the landing, yeah, getting a bit volatile, I walk the other way towards an alarm bell. That sort of thing. Anyway, guys, looks like we're going to get wet. Hope you're having the best weekend possible. Again, read all the comments today on the videos, the questions and answers. LJ, Kira and Carl, you know, super supportive of people, which is amazing. So there you go. Stephen? Sit down then, kid. Sit down. Sit. Steady. Steady. Good boy. Thanks for coming, guys. Thanks for continued support. Please support the socials. Links in the description. I'll see you.